Jai Gurudev, everybody, welcome back. So, what happened today? Nothing much happened. So, today, funny, somebody sent me a picture of the devil and God. And the devil was saying to God, you see, with the COVID-19, I've closed all your churches. And he was very happy into that. And another side, God replied, yes, you have closed every churches, but I have opened in every house a new one, which is really sweet and funny at the same time, because it's true. You see, there is a force outside with the mind and meant to control everything, to control the whole system of things, even to control religion itself. A culture which had been for thousands of years here in Europe, yet when you can see that everywhere they're stopping all the celebration and everything, but yet that brings one to the point of what the sages have said, always everything is inside of you. You are the temple of God. And God, firstly, you must find him inside. It makes me think about this picture, saying, okay, God said, okay, fine, you have closed the church, the building outside, but yet, can you change the faith of people? Outside you can restrict something, you can change something, but inside the people you can't change it just like that. So, and this is making me think that this is a grand picture which the sages, even Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said, that everything is inside of you, and that you have to dive within to really reconnect to who you are truly. So it is amazing during this time how many people are reconnecting again back to themselves, asking question also about, is it just that what is life which I have lived? When we look at how the world was going before, we see there was such a rush into the world. And I remember the satsangs before I was saying, when you look at how the world is, there's such a rush into everything. People are busy, you have to compete with this and that, you're busy rushing continuously. Who will say that now you will be sitting for all this time at home, not even going out, no, sitting at home. At the beginning, I remember people were saying, oh my goodness, that's terrible, how we will handle that, When I said to the people that I will be in quarantine, self-quarantine actually, in Sri Pitanath, the devotee here said, no, you don't need it. I said, no, look, I asked everybody who come from India, they have to do it, and I also have to do it, no matter what. And every time the devotee will ask, are you all right in your quarantine? Even yesterday, I called some devotee, and they were saying, Swamiji, are you all right in your quarantine? How is it? I said, well, it's good. I'm enjoying, It's nothing terrible, So, it's nice, actually, really. And somebody was asking a question also, Swamiji, in Vrindavan, you're different, joyful. And here in Germany, you're more, I don't know, strict or whatever. But look, in every places I am different. It's true, In Vrindavan, I think it's the energy of Krishna. It's completely different. And when I'm in Mauritius, I'm also different. But when I come to Germany, you see, when the word Germany, itself is so, it's a strong energy into it. But it made me also different. That's true, actually, because I noticed it in myself. Uh, when I travel, let's say, for example, going on a pilgrimage, I'm a different person. But the moment I landed here in Germany, I become, there's a strictness and the whole mood change. But it's nothing to do with me. I'm how I am, you know. But everywhere you have to be differently, you know. So that's why I was reflecting upon that. It made me laugh, actually. So it's like that. You see, people in the house, you know, when they are at home, they act differently. When they go outside, they are a different person. You have a multitude of personality inside of you, which you express wherever you have. You have to adapt to it. So it's like that also. And of course, Vrindavan is Vrindavan. You know, like I said, it's different. And to experience that, you have one time, you know, to be there, you know, and experience it. I was talking with my auntie, actually, which is Swamini Pragatishwari, which is stuck there in Vrindavan. You know, it was her first time in Vrindavan, and she wanted to come, and I told her, please come for Holi, and she came for Holi. And of course, everybody which came for Holi, some people left and some people got stuck there because the country is in complete lockdown. So I think Bhagwan have loved so much, even Swami Parantapa, you know, which were planning to leave, and many were planning to leave. And I said, okay, you have your plan, and he have his plan. And I said, okay, you have come to me, now I want to keep you there. So I've kept them there. So I will also Ajay Gopal to ask this question.
Dear Guruji, what is dogmatism and how can we not fall into the trap of it? And what is the difference between dogmatism and total determination on the spiritual path?
Look, dogmatism, dogma means a certain ideas of things, you know, where you have a certain idea and you're so fixated upon that, you know, and you don't want to perceive something else than this idea only. Dogmatic, when somebody is dogmatic, one becomes very fanatic into their ideas. You know, it's not whether they know whether it is right or wrong, you know, whether it is real or not real, it doesn't matter. Because they think that this idea is what it is, you know, and they are so taken by this idea that they have made that idea their motto of life. So when you make an idea your motto of life, you become dogmatic into it. So you enter a very narrow way, which you don't perceive anything. You are not open to anything. It's only your idea, your way, your understanding is right. And you will fight, you will kill, you will do everything because of that ideas. You know, it's nothing to do with the reality. Because an idea, an ideas is in the mind, and it is like a thought. It's an imagination. It's a form of vibration only. You know, it is in the mind. The intellect also is in which create this reality. So you have the intellect, you have the mind, which is fixated upon a certain idea of things that due to your belief and so strongly into that, become your reality. And you don't see anything else beyond that. You can't surpass this because that's what makes you feel good. You know, you think that you are happy into that, and you feel threatened if somebody else challenged that idea. Because you are not sure about it, whether you are truly right or wrong. Why do you think people fight for their dogmas, you know? When we talk about dogma, it can be many kind of ideas. You know, very often in religion you see that. And people fight for that idea. Because you see, when you feel threatened, your faith is shaking. So this unshakable faith, that shakeable faith, is not unshakable. Then you realize, is it truly I have faith into that or not? If something can shake that, if it start to make you think, then you realize, oops, I have to fight for that. No, I should not be shaken. That's why very often you will see that in religion it is that they portray, that faith which is shakeable. You see, because your faith is shakeable, that's why you have to fight for your ideas. Whether you have to fight, you can kill, you can do whatever. You have seen religion throughout history, what it has shown, just because of dogmatism. So that is what that does in one mind. One is so fixated upon that, and they are not finding the openness to everything. When we are talking about God, they have a God which is only what kind of idea they must fixate upon. So the second part of the question is,
what is the difference between dogmatism and total determination?
So total determination, when we look at that part, when you're determined about something, you don't become dogmatic. You're open. You see, when you're determined about a certain things, let's say a scientist want to find a certain solution, they are open to failure. You see, if what the result they give you at the end, it's just what they have achieved. But when a scientist, if it is, let's say, for example, dogmatic, not open about failure, never will that scientist achieve anything. Because that first time itself, when it do its experience and it fail, it will stop. It's like a child riding a bicycle. First time the child ride the bicycle, for sure the child will fell down. Imagine the child said, okay, I fell down, I hurt myself, finished, I will not ride the bicycle again, or I will not walk again. Will the child walk? Will the child ride the bike again? No, it will not. But the child doesn't think the same way. It is open to possibilities, open to other things. Okay, one time I have fallen down, I will do it again, I will fall down again. So the openness to different realities, the openness to other possibilities make way to something which is different. You have an aim, you want to achieve it, but yet you are open to it. In chapter 12, 2, verse 2, chapter 12, verse 2 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, those which is surrendered to me with faith, they achieve me. Those who, he said, I consider bhakti to be the most, those who have devotion to be the most exalt in yoga, but those who surrender to me with faith, that's what is important. But the next verse, what he said, chapter 12, verse 3 and 4, he said, but those who worship me, who knows me to be the omnipresent, the immovable, the unchangeable, the inaccessible with the mind, unthinkable, and so on. Those which have self-control, have controlled their senses, and those who have the equal mindedness, who see everything in an equal way, they also come to me. So you see here, Bhagavan have said, first I value those who worship me, who have great devotion to me, who worship me in a form, because the mind can conceive a form, they come to me. But he don't exclude those who also have faith in him, but those who worship him also in an omnipresent way, unmanifest way. But yet, he said that they also will come to me that possibility, which he opened, it's not only one kind of people can come to me. No, he said, everybody can come to me. Chapter 4, verse 11, he said, I reciprocate that what people come to me, I reciprocate back how they come to me. So that the Lord reciprocate the same thing, what we have inside of us, how we approach Him, He also approaches us in that way. So, you see, if we are fanatic and narrow-minded, of course you will find a God which is narrow-minded and fanatic also, which is limited. You will not know the omnipresent God, which is blissful, which is fully of love, And one way we say, God is love, but yet how many people really are ready to be like Him? Here He's saying, be like me. You see, the whole things of what He asks in all scriptures is how to transform yourself and be like Him. You don't become Him, but you can become like Him. And to become like Him, you have to start awakening that divine quality. You see. Firstly, that mind and intellect, which is so much focused on the limitation, must change, must transform. So the transformation of that mind and intellect, make it divine, divinization of the mind itself. It is an openness of the supreme reality. When we say God have created everything, He have placed Himself everywhere. We have to have an open mind to perceive that. If you have a mind which is limited only to God, how it is written, you will never find Him. So that possibility, which when we open our mind and intellect, we open our heart to something which is undescribable. We can't describe it. Even in that verse, in chapter 12, verse 3, he said, I am this undescribable. We can't describe Him. Words are limited to describe Him. How can you think of the unthinkable? You can't think about Him. When we know only through what the Holy Scriptures have told us about. But to really think about the greatness of Him, the mind is limited. So that's why, you see, when you have a certain determination about things, be open to possibilities. Because through being open to possibilities, that will carry you towards where you have to be in a very easy way. Because then you have faith. No matter what comes, nothing can move you from your faith.
Dear Guruji, what is your spiritual opinion on abortion? If it is wrong and we have done it, how can we atone for it?
Look, my opinion about abortion is completely wrong. Because I don't agree with abortion. Firstly, you see, when you are having your fun, you should think that it is a big karmic things also being implied into that. So it's a very, my point of view is that I'm completely against that. You see, when we look at a demon, for example, a demon will never even harm their own child, whether it is born or unborn. So, if you as being human being, for whatever reason, you have that tendency to do such harm to an unborn child or soul which had prepared itself, to come, it is a very big karmic implied to it. So if you have done it, let's say for whatever reason, though I can't judge anybody upon that, and that you feel really that what you have done, sincerely it is wrong, what I will ask you, pray for that soul. Yeah. Because you see, that soul have a certain connection with you, for that soul to come inside of you, for that energy to start happening inside. There must be a certain connection, karmic connection together. So for you to have cut this connection just like that, well, I would say just pray for the soul. Pray that, because you see, karmic-wise, you're still linked to that. And whether you achieve your life purpose in this life, but yet that karma, you will have to bear it. Even if you have to come back again, you will have to bear again this karma for that action. So, pray for that soul. That's the only thing I can tell you to do.
Jai Gurudev, as we are in constant transformation, what attitude should we have with the promises we have made in the past that no longer correspond to who we are now? Is it okay to break these commitments?
Yeah, because you see, before, if you have, well, depend which kind of commitment you have made, So let's say, for example, you are married before, and then your life have changed, and now you are a different person. I have to be very careful to say, because some people can turn it and say, oh, Swamiji have said, because I did some commitment before, and now I'm a different person. I have to let go of that commitment. No, so I have to be really careful what I'm saying right now, So it's a tricky question, really. So look, if you have, let's say, for example, promise and did some other commitment. I'm not talking about your marriage. I'm not talking about big commitment in life that you have taken, but certain commitment that you have, for example, taken before, and of course, due to your constant changing, of course, you may change that commitment. You may finish with that commitment, You can also forget about that commitment, because when you were taking that commitment, you were in a different mindset, And of course, through transformation, through you growing, of course, you view things differently. When you were a child, you used to view things in a certain way. Doesn't mean that now you view the same thing the same way as when you were a child. So you view your life completely different right now. So as you view your life completely different, of course, everything change for you. So the same thing, whatever commitment you have made, I'm not talking about your marriage, or I'm not talking about your children, you're committed to your children or whatever. This is your duty. You have to fulfill it. But if there's certain commitment you have done and you see that you are not longer able to hold upon that commitment, of course changes happen in life. And of course you have to go with that changes. So like that, you can see, often people commit themselves, take certain vow in life, they live a certain way, and then after that their life change, They break their vow and they carry on with their life. They think that it is finished. Of course it is not finished, but due to your commitment, you still hold upon certain tie with that. Maybe today you will not, but sometimes you will have to fulfill it also. But as your life change and move towards a certain direction, it depends always, what direction your life is changing towards, If your life, let's say you commit and then you'll fall back again into the same direction that you were going, but then taking different commitment for the same purpose make no use. It's like jumping from the pan into the fire. But if that commitment that you have made before, but is towards, let's say, enlightenment, towards your spiritual life and transformation, of course that commitment is nullified completely. It's erased completely. That karma also, which is linked to that commitment, when you go on the spiritual path, it's finished with that. It doesn't go together. So in that way, it is possible to finish with a certain commitment in life.
Dear Guruji, since God is in control of everything and He knows the future of all of us, is it not boring for Him to still incarnate on earth and be around people?
No, look, if it was boring, He will not incarnate and be among people. He always come as a reminder. And also one thing is that time-wise, how you view time here, here we see time, 24 hours, we see it few hours, minute, and days and years, But for the divine, it is different. It's not the same way that we view. Time doesn't have any meaning. It's not that when He incarnate here, He is not present in Vaikuntha. He's present in Vaikuntha, and He's present also acting here on this world itself. So it's not boring. He come and do His work. Whatever He have to do, He will do. And He come with a specific work, to elevate those which is dormant. So when He come as a reminder of that reality, of course He will do what He have, and He enjoy what He is doing. So it's not boring. A life of an avatar is not boring. Actually, an avatar work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and throughout his life he will continuously work for the upliftment of societies, for the upliftment of humanity. Sorry, not society, but for the upliftment of humanity itself. So there's not a single second, but an avatar don't work. So, how can it be boring? When you're continuously busy, and really continuously knows what you're here for, it's not boring. People can say also that God is lying down on Adishesh in Vaikuntha is boring. No, it's not. There's not a single time, There is no word as boring in his dictionary. So, Jai Gurudev.